Now, see, they use the word prediction. Let me explain why they use prediction. Because if your speculation has some validity to it, you'll be able to predict things that will happen in the future. This is how something goes from a speculation to a scientific theory. If by using a speculation you get 51% predictability, it's considered a scientific theory. It's still not the truth, but now it becomes a scientific theory because you have a degree of predictability. Just like Einstein was a mathematician, right? So he was able to perceive things through math and his own reason and logic that other people were not able to see. I mean, science is something, it's like building a pyramid. You build it from the base up, right? So many scientists before Einstein were able to come up with actual experimental proof of things and theoretical proof through mathematics. Right? Now, the theoretical proofs are not things that you actually have experienced yet, but through mathematics, they were able to see that some things exist that we don't see yet, right? Like electromagnetic waves. So there was a famous British scientist called Maxwell who theorized the existence of electromagnetic waves. They were trying to figure out, how electricity works. So he theorized that there's such a thing as electromagnetic waves, but he never did the experimentation to show it. So you have the Indian scientist Jagdish Chandra Bose, who actually was able to liberate static electricity and project it through electromagnetic waves. He's actually the founder of modern cell phones and television and radio and so forth. He didn't get he demonstrated this in 1899 in the Royal Academy of Science in London. And people thought he was a magician. He projected an electromagnetic wave from one side of the Royal Academy conference hall to the other side and set something on fire. And they thought he was a magician. He blew their minds when he did this. He was right up there with Tesla and Einstein. He was on the same level of these people. So anyway, when you are able to have a certain degree of predictability, in other words, you're able to predict something that's going to happen in the future based on your scientific theory, it becomes a scientific theory and not just a speculation. It's still speculative, but it has a certain degree of predictability. That's why they call it a scientific theory. It's not the absolute truth, but it does help you answer certain questions. Just like Newton's 3 laws of mechanics has a certain degree of predictability with the movement of macroscopic objects. When you get down to the level of atomic particles, it doesn't work anymore. So you need another theory called quantum theory or string theory or something else. But so you see, these speculations sometimes are able to explain to a certain degree things. And then that speculation is called a scientific theory. You understand? That's why they're using the word predictability. See, you correctly said in our school they call it the speculation predictability. Now I just explained why. A scientific theory can have some degree of predictability. Okay. So we'll get back to the original question, the question I started with just now, and that is, how do you know an answer is bona fide? and not just speculation. Okay, so you want to... Yeah, where's the microphone? Why are you holding the microphone? Start all over.
The bona fide answer if you can find it in the Vedas.
Well, you're going to have Krishna's original words, right? It's called Sabda Brahma in Sanskrit. Krishna's original spoken words, like in Bhagavad Gita. This is called Shruti because Krishna is speaking directly. And then Smriti, you have great acharyas who speak about Krishna, and because they're bona fide persons. Why? Why are they bona fide? Because they repeat what Krishna says. That's why they're bona fide. Krishna is the original guru. Okay, so go ahead, finish your answer. Go ahead.
Yeah, so you have to use the triangle of verification. And you have to, and the guru can't speculate, so they can't, so basically they have to...
They can't say, I think.
Yeah, they can't say, I think.
They say,
Yeah.
Krishna says
Yeah.
Bhagavad Gita verse 4:34, such and such. Krishna says 13:22, such and such. Svatara Upanishad says this in this verse.
They cannot make up anything.
They cannot make it up. They have to rely on shastric evidence, right? But wait a minute, there's a second point. How do you know that the answer is bona fide? That's one. That's point one. What's point two? It's about the guru. What about the guru? Yes. Guru himself is following rules. It's not that he's smoking a cigarette and quoting Shastra. If he's smoking a cigarette and quoting Shastra, he's a nonsense also. Even though what he quotes may be correct, but he's not qualified to quote because he's not following the rules and regulations. See, nowadays, the teachers in the school, they're eating meat, they're smoking, they're doing all kinds of things, and they're supposed to be teaching you. They're not a bona fide teacher by not following the rules and regulations of Sanatana Dharma. What? You have a gay teacher in your school, yeah. That's the wrong word. The gay is not the right word. It's homopsychotic. Don't say it, otherwise he'll freak out if you call him a homopsychotic. But that's the correct word. It's a homopsychotic. I coined that phrase. See, the word gay sounds good. It sounds like something good. To be gay means you're always happy.
Yeah, the word gay originally means like you're really happy.
Yeah, exactly. That's why they use that word. But the actual word is homopsychotic. Psychotic means you're sick. Sick for the same sex, basically. Okay, so now we discussed, that's point two. Is there a point three by which you can recognize that the answer is bona fide and not speculative? Yes.
Did we already say read the Shastra?
Yes. The triangle verification is Krishna, Acharya's Guru, or Guru Shastra Sadhu. Shastra refers to Krishna's original words. Sadhu means the previous Acharyas, and Guru means the present Guru. So if the present Guru says something different than the previous Acharyas and Krishna, because the previous Acharyas are simply going to repeat what Krishna says, right? If he says something different, then he's not a Guru, he's a Kanguru. There's a difference between Guru and Kanguru, right? You ever see the kangaroo? By the way, there's a picture on the internet now of a kangaroo who is a muscle builder. Did you see that picture? Oh, I should show it to you. It's amazing. He looks like, what's that guy named Tyson, the fighter. Right? He's got these big muscles like this. He's a muscle builder. A kangaroo.
Is it a guru or a kangaroo?
No, it's a real kangaroo, but he looks like a muscle builder. So first of all, when they step standing on their fine legs, they look like a human being almost. And they fight like human beings. They fight with their two arms and standing on their legs. They don't stand on four legs like dogs. They stand up like this and they fight. You ever see kangaroos fight?
No.
But did you see it on the internet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wild crabs.
Wild what?
What? It's like a TV show about animals. It's like a learning TV show.
Yeah.
Where the people turn into animals.
People turn into animals.
Yeah, no, they have like this thing.
Turn into animals so that they can experience how the animals behave
Yeah,
and their characteristics.
they all sit and then they're like, oh, kangaroo, and they say facts about each animal.
And then there's like these villains who try to stop them.
Yeah, they're like really villains.
Oh, wow. Sounds really cool. Yeah. Okay. Next, sorry. So, we did not read the purport to 434. Who's going to read the purport to 434? You were reading?
I was reading. No, you're reading 13:43. I was reading
434. Okay, let Arush read a little bit of 434. Go ahead. 434. Go ahead. Yeah.
The purpose of all sacrifices.
Wait a minute. 4th chapter, 34th verse.
Just try to learn.
Go ahead.
Difficult. The Lord therefore advises us to approach a bona fide spiritual master in the line of discipline and succession
Yes.
from the Lord Himself. No one can be a bona fide spiritual master without following this principle of discipline succession.
Okay, so there was a man that came here to teach Sanskrit, and he taught a couple classes. I told you this story already, right? And then the devotees refused to go to his class. Why? Because he was trying to teach Mayavad philosophy through Sanskrit. And he got really frustrated because people stopped coming to, and they told him, we're not coming to your class anymore. So he came up to me and said, there's something wrong here. There's something wrong in your temple. I said, what's wrong? So I'm teaching Sanskrit. They don't want to come to my class anymore. I said, well, maybe you're not teaching Sanskrit. He said, what do you mean I'm not teaching Sanskrit? I'm a Sanskrit expert. I said, I know, but maybe you're teaching something along with the Sanskrit that's not bona fide. So how do you know it's not bona fide? You don't know Sanskrit. I said, yeah, but I know Sanskrit philosophy. And I said, you're trying to teach people Mayavad philosophy, which is speculative. It says that ultimately you merge into some homogeneous oneness. But Krishna says that the soul can never be, is not changeable. It's eternally an individual. And you're saying it becomes a non-individual in the future. So you're violating Krishna's teaching. So you're not even teaching Sanskrit, I said. You're teaching Mayavad philosophy. Therefore, if you want to teach Sanskrit here, first you come and sit down, I'll teach you Bhagavad Gita correctly. Then you can go and teach it. He said, no, I know Bhagavad Gita already. I know better than you. I can read the Sanskrit. I said, you don't know how to read Sanskrit. And he went crazy when I said that. I said, you don't understand anything about Sanskrit. I said, you think you know how to do what is called Sangya Graha? It's like for a euphemism. What is it called?
Sandhi and Samas.
Yes, Sandhi. So you put the consonants together, get rid of the vowels, and then there's a way of taking it apart. I said, when you take it apart, you do it speculatively. You don't know how to take it apart properly. And you do it on purpose to support your false idea of Mayavad philosophy. So I said, you don't know Sanskrit. I can tell you right now, you know. Then he showed me his book, you know. So I read every verse, and then I separate the words, and I get the meaning. I said, you don't know how to separate the words. That's why you have all these false conclusions. You see how pervasive this speculation is, and it's usually, you know, based on Mayavad philosophy. Okay, so go ahead. Said you have, and I told him. What did I tell him? Why I brought this up? I said we depend on disciplic succession, and Krishna says, "Evam parampara praptam imam rajasayo vidu sa kalena mahata yoganasta parantapa." 4th chapter, 2nd verse. So we're reading the 4th chapter now, and this verse says, the supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time, the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it is appears to be lost. So Krishna spoke again the Bhagavad Gita 5,000 years ago because the disciplic succession had been broken. But the way this knowledge is transferred from age to age, from generation to generation, is through parampara, the disciplic succession. Just like Prabhupada had a guru. He learned from his guru. And then he has disciples, and then we learn from Prabhupada. And then whatever Prabhupada taught us, we're teaching you. And then you're learning from Prabhupada right now by hearing what the explanations I'm giving and showing you where Prabhupada says those things. And whatever he's saying, those are things that previous acharyas and Krishna has said. So that's called disciplic succession. I said, you're not in any disciplic succession. I said, you're just doing your own speculation. So you have no standing. So that's the 3rd point, how you know if an answer is correct or false. Does the person who's teaching you, what disciplic succession are they in, if they are at all? So if they say, oh, I'm in disciplic succession, my grandfather started a school of philosophy. Your grandfather, that's called stinkology again. Your grandfather is nobody. I say, and many times these modern teachers, they have a made-up disciplic succession, something that's made up, is not bona fide. So now you have 3 criterions. One is triangle verification. 2 is the guru must be following the rules and regulations of spiritual life. And number 3 is the guru must be in a bona fide disciplic succession. If he's not, then, you know, there's no reason to listen to what he says. Okay, go ahead. Read. What happened to Arush? Okay. Go ahead. No one can be a bona fide spiritual master without following this principle of disciplic succession. Okay? Next. The Lord is. The Lord is the. You turned it on.
Can convey the
wait
message.
a minute. Arusha's back. Arusha's back. Okay. Give him the microphone. No one can be a bona fide spiritual master.
No one can be a no one
Fide.
can be
A bona fide spiritual master. No one can be a bona fide spiritual master.
right here. No one can be a bona fide spiritual master without following this principle of disciplic succession. The Lord is original spiritual master, and a person in the disciplic succession can convey the message of the Lord as it is to his disciple. No one can be spiritually realized by the manufacturing of his own process, as is the fashion of the foolish pretenders.
These are the speculators, pretenders.
The Bhagavad Gita 6.
Bhagavatam.
The Bhagavatam 6.3.19 says, Dharam ta sakad.
Dharmam tu shakshat bhagavat pranitam.
The path of religion is directly enunciated by enunciated by the Lord. Therefore, mental speculation or dry arguments cannot help lead one to the right path.
That's it, see? Mental speculation and dry arguments cannot help lead one to the right path. Go ahead. Nor
by independent study of books of knowledge can one progress in spiritual life.
Yes, all these, the independent study of books of knowledge. Let's say you say, oh, I'm going to read Bhagavad Gita on my own. You can try, but it's not recommended, but you can try to do that. But it's better that you read it in the company of bona fide devotees.
We have some friends probably, they keep reading all these books.
Yeah.
And then they come to this mix of all these ideas.
Yeah.
Where right now for them to, I think this is a good
Yeah.
shloka to refer to.
Yes. Exactly. I have some more powerful stuff, but we don't have time to go over it. It's another lecture by Prabhupada where he really nails it really heavily. But right there, it's all here anyway. Go ahead.
One has to approach a bona fide spiritual master to receive this knowledge. Such as the spiritual master should be accepted in full surrender, and one should serve the spiritual master like a
menial servant
without false prestige.
Not thinking that you know everything. You should rather think, I don't know anything. I want to learn from my guru. Go ahead.
Satisfaction of the self-realized spiritual master is the secret of the advancement in spiritual life.
So now you know the secret of how to advance in spiritual life. How do you advance in spiritual life? By putting your pen in your mouth? How do you advance? Who knows? Yes, Krishna, how do you advance?
The spiritual master is the secret of advancement.
No, satisfaction of the spiritual master is the secret of advancement. When you please the spiritual master, how do we know that? Because it says, by the mercy of the spiritual master, one receives the benediction of Krishna. Without the grace of the spiritual master, one cannot make any advancement. Another way of saying that is, if the spiritual master is pleased, you know Krishna is pleased. I mean, this is the bona fide spiritual master. Right? If the spiritual master is pleased, you know Krishna is pleased, because he is called the transparent via media. A medium, transparent via medium. What is a transparent via medium? Anybody know? Do you know what the word transparent means? You can see through it, right? Via. It means through. Yeah. A medium. The medium, it means he is, whatever he's saying, it's not coming from him, it's actually coming from Krishna. And he's explaining it transparently, as it is. He's not changing it. He's not adding or subtracting. It's not being filtered by him. He's just going through him. Okay? So, a bona fide spiritual master is a transparent via medium. And a false so-called spiritual master is opaque. So what's the difference between opaque, O-P-A-Q-U-E, and transparent? Yes? You can't see through it. So the false so-called guru is opaque. You're not getting the Krishna's message. You're getting his own message based on speculation. And there are many examples of this. Like, for example, this person I was talking to this morning, he was saying that although, he says, my life is changing by coming to the temple and hearing the classes, and now I'm chanting and I'm reading and I'm listening to kirtans, and I've lost my taste for other things. This is what I'm interested in. But my wife, he said, she's an atheist. I said, how come? He said, because she was born in an area of Tamil Nadu where there was some guru that appeared in the 1940s, and they wear a black shirt on top and they wear white dhoti on bottom, and they go around and they teach there's no God. And she grew up in that cult of no God. Have you ever heard of this in Tamil Nadu? Are you from Tamil Nadu? No. From, huh?
I'm from Andhra Pradesh.
Andhra, okay. See, you're not lucky. You have to go to Tamil Nadu to get the real nectar of nonsense. Yeah, she grew up being, her mother was a member of this sect, and they wear a black shirt and a white dhoti or sari or whatever, and they go around and teach people there's no God.
What did they say?
Huh?
Like,
What do they say? They say there's no God.
That's it.
That's their main message. There's no God. There was a German philosopher that said that. His name was Friedrich Nietzsche. You ever hear of Friedrich Nietzsche? He wrote a book, he said, that God is dead, title of his book.
So what do they convey in their message?
There's no God.
Like, how do they convince you? Do they just go
Well, no, they usually use the argument of suffering. So if there was a God, and he's a good God, how come there's so much suffering in this world? And people can't answer the question. They say, yeah, you must be right. You know. And they say, there's no God. Yes?
So, like, I was talking to somebody in my school, and they were an atheist, and so they're like, do you follow Hinduism? And I was like, yes. And then they're like, so how many gods do you have? And I said, we only have one God.
Yeah, he got confused when you
I
said,
got confused because he's like, but somebody told me that you had over 2,000 gods.
you should tell him, whoever told you that misled you.
Yeah, but, like, because like everybody like Hindus now in America, like since they're not like exposed to this kind of knowledge, they just think like gods means like the demigods.
Yes.
So they think that there's so many.
No, but you should explain to him there are two major schools of philosophy in India. One is called Mayavad philosophy, in which they accept many gods and no God. So you accept many gods, that means there's no God, right? And then there's Vaishnavism, that accepts one God. It's called monotheistic. That's the high class word. Monotheistic. There's only one God. Yeah. And Krishna explains this, 18th chapter, 65th verse. Sarvadharmam parityajya mam ekam saranam vraja. He says, give up all your fabricated dharmas and surrender only unto me. So this is a stronger statement than the Muslims say, Wahad Allah. There's only one God. Wahad means one. Allah means God. Wahad Allah. It's only one God, they say. But Krishna says, Mam ekam saranam raja. You surrender only unto me. And the Hindus say, Sarva Deva Saranam Raja. So what's the difference between Mam ekam Saranam Raja and Sarva Deva Saranam Raja? What's Sarva mean? All. Deva. All gods. You surrender to all the gods.
The way that I was asking the question was like, so you follow, so he was like, so you follow God, and I was like, yeah. And he was like, which one? And I was like, what do you mean which one? There's only one God.
And then he's like, but there are 2,000.
You tell him, no, you've got the wrong information. And you give him this verse, Sarvadharmam parityaja, mam ekam saranam vraja. Krishna says, you only surrender unto me. There's only one God. That's stronger than Wahad Allah. There's only one God. It's a stronger statement. Because Yeah, you might say there's only one God, but when you say surrender only unto me, that means that it's stronger. You don't say there's only one God. You say you can only surrender to this one, and the name of the God is there, Krishna. Mami kam saranam braja. Okay, so let's finish the purport, Arush.
Inquires a submission of continued of the proper combination for spiritual understanding, unless
inquiries and submission. Don't put your fingers in your mouth. Inquiries and submission. Inquiry. What is an inquiry? Yes. Yes, it's questions. So questions and submission, being submissive and asking questions. What does he say? Inquiries and submissions constitute the proper combination for spiritual understanding. You cannot be, don't put your hand in front of your mouth. I don't want to see your tonsils. And Krishna doesn't want to see your tonsils either. Inquiries and submission constitute the proper combination for spiritual understanding. If you want to understand the subject matter of Krishna consciousness, you have to ask important questions, and you have to be submissive. That means you have to listen and follow. Go ahead.
Unless there is submission and service, inquires from the learned spiritual master.
Okay, wait a minute. Unless there is submission and service, comma, inquiries from the learned spiritual master will not be effective. If you miss the comma and don't pause, then no one can understand what you're saying. That comma is very important. It means you pause. Go ahead. Read it correctly now. Unless
there be no some.
No, there's no B. You see a B there? Bzzz, is there a B there?
No.
Huh? What is? Okay, read it correctly.
Unless there is submission of and service, inquires from the learned spiritual master will not be effective.
That means unless you serve the spiritual master and you're submissive, you will not have any spiritual understanding from the spiritual master. Go ahead.
One must be able to pass the test of the spiritual master, and when he sees the genuine desire of the disciple, he automatically blesses the disciple with genuine spiritual understanding. In this verse,
so you see, this knowledge is not academic. It's when you're submissive and you ask sincere questions and you listen carefully, then the spiritual master blesses you so you can have this knowledge. Go ahead. Just like today, this gentleman was telling me that his son is going to University of California in Berkeley, and he said, and the professors there, he said, they don't really teach. They just give minimum, and then they let the students figure everything out. Say it out loud. Say it out loud.
In middle school, they don't even teach you, the teachers. You just have to do it on your own. They just give you worksheets and tests.
Right. You see? That's why it's good to go to a small college and not a big college. In big colleges, all the professors are tenured. That means that they can never be fired. They're PhDs usually, and they're forced to write many books so that they can continue to get grants for research. So they don't really have time. And they don't want to waste the time teaching undergraduates. But if you go to a small college, usually the teachers are much kinder. They'll spend much more time with you, and you learn. You know, people think I got to get a degree from this big, Yale or Harvard or UC Berkeley. But it's better to go to a small college, and the teachers will actually spend the time to help you learn. These big colleges are factories. You do factory education, which means it's not very good. Okay, go ahead.
In this verse, both blind following and absurd inquires are
Absurd, crazy questions.
inquires are
Condemned, not commended. Condemned.
commended. Not only should one hear submissively from the spiritual master, but one must also get a clear understanding from him. In submission and service and inquiries, a bona fide spiritual master is by nature very kind toward their disciple. Therefore, when the student is submissive and always ready to render service, the reciprocation of knowledge and inquiries becomes perfect.
So that means reciprocation means you ask a question and the spiritual master takes the time to answer you and make sure that you understand the answer. Okay? But if you're not submissive, he's not going to take the time to answer you and not going to take the time to make sure you understand because you're not being proper, you're not acting properly. No, give me the answer, give me the, you act nervous and you're insistent and you're not listening carefully and he's not going to answer. Right? But if you're submissive, that means you're calm and you're very respectful and you ask an important question. The spiritual master becomes happy and he will answer and make sure you understand. Yes?
So submissive, it's like calm and being like mannered.
Yes.
Showing respect.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the way you learn. Otherwise, the teacher is not going to spend the time to make sure you understand. He won't really care. He might not even answer because he doesn't like your attitude. Okay, so we covered a lot of points today. You have your homework for tomorrow, right? Explain the different level, explain what self-realization is, right? And we'll continue tomorrow. Same time, same place, same philosophy. There's no different philosophy every time. Same. It's not that we studied Marx yesterday, and today the next day we're going to study Freud, and you don't learn anything like that. It's comparative philosophy. You don't really learn anything. You learn just that they're all speculations. In high school, they teach comparative religions. They don't even teach one religion correctly. They have misrepresentations, Just like the atheist, he learned the misrepresentation of Hinduism. So when you tell him we have only one God, he got shocked, That means either he learned junk or you're speaking junk. So you have to convince him that he learned junk. He didn't really learn what Hinduism is. You should convince him of that. It's called shock treatment. And you become a shock jock. You know what a shock jock is? It's a talk show host